Okay, Chef, I brought you along on a walk with me. It's a completely sweltering day here in DC. Here's some music in the background. I want to talk about competitive intelligence that you can find in PPP loan data. PPP, the Paycheck Protection Act, which was enacted as part of the response to the COVID pandemic, to provide loans to businesses to help support their payroll, just like what the name suggests. Recently, the Treasury Department and Small Business Administration released data on the loans of at least $150,000 or more that were made, and it provides the data, for the individual businesses that received those loans. Initially, the government had resisted releasing this data, but when they did it included a treasure trove of information on the businesses that received the loans. You can get it from the Treasury Department. I'll put a link in the description below where you can get it. Actually, I believe it's technically on the SBA website, but the release was announced by the Treasury Department. But one of the interesting points is, so it gives ranges of loans that were given. It'll give a dollar range that's pretty broad, but still gives you some sense of the operating expenses of these businesses, because they were entitled to use the loans for operating expenses like payroll, mortgage interest, utilities. They're required to use 60% of the loan to support payroll. But even in those broad ranges that you see, it gives you some sense of what their operating expenses were. You also get to see some of the subsidiaries of larger businesses, because some larger companies had their individual locations apply for loans. So you might have a grocery store chain, and instead of the chain itself applying for a loan, they would have individual stores apply for loans, which gives you some information about the locations that they have. There's a car coming. Gives you some information. Trying to get run over. Gives you some information about the loans they have. Of the how many locations they have, where they are, and how big they are. There's another car. I'm walking down the back alleys of Capitol Hill. All right, there you go. I thought it was going to be quiet back here, but so you can see obviously where those locations are, how they're, what the official business name of those locations is, and they gave you some sense of that particular company's strategy and how they decided to take advantage of the program. It also includes the industrial classification for the business. So, when you get an EIN number from the IRS, let's say you give the IRS, you kind of classify yourself using the industrial classification system. And this is an interesting one because there are some kind of businesses that were not supposed to get PPP loans, like political consultants, but some of those firms didn't classify themselves as political consulting firms, and they might have been classified as a professional services firm, and so they were still eligible. And when the loan data came out, there's quite a bit of reporting on this, especially around DC, about these kinds of businesses getting these loans. It also has markers in the data for if the business is classified as a minority-owned business, or a woman-owned business, or a veteran-owned business. I'm not sure how accurate some of this stuff is, because I've seen a couple companies that and heard from some people who work at some companies that they didn't report this information, and it but it was reporting the data incorrectly, or there's some inconsistencies in it, so I'm not sure how accurate that may be. I believe it's self-reported information, but to the extent that it's there, can give you some more data points on a company. Also, the big interesting number is the jobs retained number. The companies, report the number of jobs they were retaining by using these loans. And of course, that would give you a sense of the size of their payroll, how many employees they have. And also, it includes the lender they went through to get the loan. So, I think you could have gone to any bank, but you would assume that a business would have worked with a bank that it already had an existing relationship with. So probably some good confidence there that that's the bank they bank with. And also, if you were looking at the banking industry, it would be interesting to look at, which banks gave out or, worked with companies to provide these loans, how many they provided. Because those banks are also able to collect fees on those loans, and which is probably going to end up being quite a bit of money. So that's a quick rundown of the different competitive intelligence data points that stuck out to me when the PPP loan data was released. Let me know in the comments if you've seen interesting points like this or anything I may have missed, and I'll see you later.